Hello, everybody. We have Ryan and Jessica from Tonies. Very happy to bring them on stage. But I must say, I did tell Ryan right before we went on that we were going to also do the last event again, and it looked like he'd seen it go. So for his sake, fortunately, we're not going to replicate that. But yes, very happy to have the Tonies team here with us today. If you're not familiar with Tonies, you can actually see some of the products here. And we, I think, have some more out there as well. So we've been fortunate to work with Tonies for quite a while. It's been amazing to see their growth through the years, and especially as you start going into retail. And so I remember going in, I think it was 2 years ago around Christmas time, looking for something for the kids, and it seemed like you guys were just covered all over the Target aisles. And so extremely impressive to see your guys' growth. And so if you can just share with the audience here, what from a supply chain perspective, and as you're navigating, especially selling around the world, like what is the focus for you guys as you look to continue to scale across the United States?
I think the biggest thing for us right now is working to get compliant packaging in all areas. Right now, we're leaning on you guys to sticker and do the things to make it compliant, which makes it really difficult to expand. And we have a couple of expansions coming up that we are not prepared for. Having packaging that isn't compliant is a huge problem when you go to do those things. Ryan can speak to that because it is his nightmare to fix for me in most situations. We have a ton of it going on right now, and it's been really difficult to our growth. It's hard to scale when you can't be agile and quickly move into different countries and different areas because of your packaging. I mean, it's a huge, huge issue. So I think that's probably our biggest challenge right now.
Well, and let's maybe stay on that, because I'm curious on the packaging compliance, because there's direct to consumer, there's the retail side, but then you're also looking to optimize the box sizing so you can reduce the weight or the dimensional weight of the good, which of course for direct to consumer is one of the two biggest inputs into figuring out what the costs are. So how do you guys go about navigating that?
Yeah, we use a few different custom box sizes. So ShipBob offers many different box sizes at their warehouse, but I guess unfortunately for us, not all of those are perfect for our product. We have our starter set, which is like a 7-inch cube, and then we have a lot of different varying sizes. And so what we did is we worked with ShipBob to figure out, what size of box would be best for us. And we were able to actually bring those boxes into ShipBob, store them at the warehouse, and within the product page of the web portal, you can select the custom box sizes. And so that was really able to cut our dimensional weight down, because oftentimes, like, we work with a very lightweight product. So we're not really hitting that actual weight most of the time. It's typically the dimensional weight. So by utilizing a box that's a starter set and just a 3 or 5 Tonies, we've really been able to reduce the dimensional weight.
That's awesome.
Out of the warehouse.
And if you could maybe talk to us a little bit about that, because I know what's so interesting with your business. I remember talking to you guys very early from when you guys were talking to us, where the business model actually has some similarities to like the razor industry, where you have, maybe it's slightly inverse, but you have the actual like razor, and then you have the blades. And so you guys have the Tonies box, and then all the figurines. And so when you think of it from a repeat purchase standpoint, and from like a packaging and fulfillment standpoint, what are some of the inputs that you guys look at to really optimize the supply chain?
We look at the average order size and what's in there. So Ryan's done a ton of analysis on how many units do people buy regularly, and it's 3 to 5 usually, and it's really based on what we do for promotional things, and it drives that average size. And so what we did is we went through and worked with you guys on picking costs, what the average is, and how do we capture the most savings from that. And because you guys have the pick, 1 pick, 2 pick, 3 pick, and we really worked with you guys to really save money on that. And it's been really beneficial, but based off of the what our consumers do, it's very similar. And like I said, we do drive a lot of that by promotional. We do our bundles or buy one, get one, or whatever that is. And we have utilized that to work with you guys to really drive our costs down on our picking costs. We've been successful in that.
That's great. And what I love with Tony is because I got one for my daughter a couple years ago, is, it really does, as a lot of parents, I've got 3 little ones, trying to keep the kids off of the screens and while still enjoying their books and everything, is, you guys have so many different figurines and partnerships you guys are able to unlock. So, what are some of the best sellers you're seeing right now?
Disney. Anything
Disney?
Disney
Okay.
princesses fly off the shelf. We just launched Miss Rachel, and I think we're selling one less than a second until they're sold out. We don't have enough. We bought 3 times as much as we're forecasted because we knew it was going to be huge, and we still don't have enough. So really, everything's on allocation right now. So everybody's mad, of course. But since I've been at Tonies, I've been there 3 years almost. I've never seen anything like it. So
For Miss Rachel.
for Miss Rachel, everybody loves her, apparently, including my 1-year-old grandson. It's crazy. He hears her voice and he's looking at her. So whatever she's got, she's doing it right. But it's been crazy. I thought our top sellers are like Frozen, Moana, those kind of things. But Miss Rachel has blown that up. It will be very interesting to watch the trend. Does it stay like that, or is it one of those up and dives down? We don't know yet because we've never really seen anything quite like that. So it's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, and again, especially because some of the orders you guys have, some driven by promotions, there's quite a few units per order, and maybe bring it back to my kids real quick. Like, I know my daughter loves it, and my boys do too, but for a very different reason, because they hide them from my daughter. And,
Oh, fun.
they get to watch her get mad at them and look around the house for the products. But, I know when you guys started with us, you guys were in one facility, and a lot of that was driven because there are so many units per order. And then you guys started to distribute with us and now leverage the inventory placement program. And so just curious, what was some of the thought process of a company with a slightly larger catalog when you guys were deciding, whether you should leverage multiple facilities and then, why you guys took the step into the inventory placement program?
So we really worked with you guys to look at where are most of our orders going and using that heat map to look at it. And we were not really in the right areas. We were spread pretty thin. We used the LA location, I can't remember right where it is, but around LA because our main warehouse is in LA, so it made sense. But when it came down to it, the least amount of orders shipped from that area, that DC. So I think we had 2 when we started. Was it 2?
Yeah, we had 2. Well, we started, right around the beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
So maybe we started off prior to that with 1, but when we
But
came
when
online,
we came
there
on, it was 2.
2.
And then we quickly went to 3, and now we have moved to 5. And managing 5 DCs and trying to manage allocation of inventory on our own was very difficult, and we wouldn't have the right things in the right place. And we'd split order all the time, which is incredibly expensive for the business. So we moved to the IPP program. We launched it once. We didn't do a very good job, so then we paused. It wasn't on them. It was more on us understanding how to make it work for us. So I think we took a pause for a month or 2, quickly went back into it, and it has probably been the best decision we've ever made. We barely ever have split shipments. The inventory is where it needs to be based off of where our consumers are purchasing from, so we've saved quite a bit of money in shipping costs. The biggest thing that we've gained, we're competing with Amazon. Even though we sell on Amazon, I prefer our customers to buy from Tonies.com. It's our flagship store. We have everything there. But you compete with Amazon. People want things the next day. And moving to 5, I think we're a day and a half, 2 days. Majority of it is 1 to 2 days. So they get that service, so it's driven some more, consumers to that spot to get their goods, and it's been great for us.
That's great to hear. And Ryan, I know you spend a lot of time in ShipBob, in the ShipBob dashboard, and leveraging the merchant-facing technology. And curious, maybe inventory placement program's part of it, but what else do you look to leverage to really can help continue to scale Tonies across not just direct to consumer but retail as well?
Yeah, I think the real-time updates are huge for us. I've worked with other warehouses where you only get a report once a day, or maybe updates every few hours, right? In the D2C, right now Tonies with ShipBob is mainly D2C. We're actually looking to expand into B2B here shortly. We could probably talk about that in a minute. But what the great thing about the D2C part is if I want to put an order on hold, it's instant. I know I can do that. I can go in there, I can change the address, I can put it on hold, I can add or remove items, cancel the order, and it's instantaneous, right? And so I don't have to worry about, oh, did they actually cancel it? Can I refund the customer? Whatever the case may be. So I think really just having that real-time ability to make changes or edits to orders is really huge in our business model.
That's awesome. And I don't know there we go. And then, so what's been awesome also to see is you guys, along with our place and a handful of others in the audience, have been, called out by Shopify in particular around being some of the largest sellers during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And I know I'm always nervously and excitedly refreshing to see whatever they're sharing there, because they're looking at it across their whole customer base. And you guys have been, especially the last couple of years, always at the top of their list. I know you guys are going through like a technology integration change and just kind of how the data flows. And so just curious if you can share a little bit more about what you guys are doing and why you guys are doing it, because I think it's kind of the inverse of what we're seeing with some of our other customers, and there's always pros and cons of both, but if you can just expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So, the way it functions right now is everything comes directly into our ERP, whether it's from Amazon or Shopify or our retailer customers. It's, our ERP is a source of truth for everything. And then we kind of, divvy out, okay, what's going to our B2B warehouse? What's going to ShipBob? What's going, over here, right? So we have control, and we're sending those work orders or warehouse shipments, to and from each of these warehouses. And I would say, for 11 months out of the year, it does a great job when, we're not having insane order volumes. But the real challenge that we've had over the last few years is Black Friday through the 7 days before Christmas, when typically we'll have 8 to 1,200 orders a day, and then on some days, I think our biggest day was like 26,000 orders in one day. And
it's a lot of orders.
Yeah, and the ERP thinks so too, and it doesn't really keep up the way that it should. And what ends up happening is we don't get you all the orders in a timely fashion. We have to start doing manual imports into the ERP to push these orders to you. And you start doing manual work, humans are doing it, there's potential for errors, right? And then of course you're behind, right? You're always trying to catch up. So this year we are taking the leap to go to the direct Shopify to ShipBob integration through the plugin. So we've pretty much tested that, and we're ready to turn it on here in the next couple of weeks. So we're excited.
Yeah.
We're excited to get going on that, and hopefully 30,000 orders a day this year. Hopefully you can handle.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I think it's just, I wanted, it's great for you to share that, because I know a lot of our customers, they'll come in and maybe they start with Shopify Direct and then they go to an ERP partner like NetSuite or Fulfill or another one, and then that's usually like the product flow. And then as they get bigger, of course, it just becomes more important for the ERP. You guys that when you actually started with us, were going always from ERP into ShipBob, and so it's interesting to hear how you guys were reversing the flow, because you know how important it is to get those orders in so quickly, especially during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is when you guys really thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been extremely challenged with that, and we actually thought if we were on-prem when Ryan and I started, and then we did an ERP upgrade to the cloud, and we thought that would fix it. We moved to API connections instead of EDI. We did all the things you think you should do to make this work. Bottom line is, our ERP cannot keep up with our volume. So we went to ShipBob, and I asked you guys, who else does Direct Connect, and how does that work, and what challenges do they have? Because I wanted to really understand what didn't I know? What challenges were we introducing, taking away the challenges we were trying to get rid of? Because there's always something. And so we really did our due diligence with talking to you guys, figuring out other partners that did it, how it worked out for them, and it just ended up being the right decision. So I'm sure Brian, of course, is looking forward to a Black Friday where he's not sitting on his laptop all day, all night, me calling him, how are we looking? Because also when you don't have those timely orders, the inventory gets off and we oversell, and it happened so many times last year. And then my customer happiness team, who I also manage, they have to deal with all of that. So it's like a trickle-down effect that just is, it's not a good experience for our consumers. Like, you bought this, you wanted it for the holidays, sorry, but we can't keep our ERP under control. And then we have to refund them, and that takes time and money. So it really was the right decision for us, and we are very, very excited for it and crossing our fingers that it goes smooth and we have a great Q4 and don't deal with that again.
Nice. Well, something you mentioned there, I want to touch on how the customer happiness team rolls up to you. And we talked about it a little bit with Bobby, where, you know, aligning the internal metrics of how people are, you know, really judged and how they get to grow within the company and how that can translate to success that you see externally as well. I think it's interesting that, you know, happiness rolls up to you. We actually do that at ShipBob as well, where the success team rolls up into operations. And so curious, you know, especially because I'm sure a lot of brands out here, especially as they get larger, they're wondering, what is the best way for me to structure my team? And of course that will evolve over time, but has it always been the case? And what are some of the wins you see there?
It has not always been the case. They were separate, like operations and customer happiness were separate, and they both reported up to my GM because we were much, much smaller. When I came on, that changed and customer happiness rolled up to me. We're kind of unique because now we have global customer happiness, so the director of global happiness also reports to me. She's in the US, so it makes sense, but she manages all of our markets. But it's kind of great for me because I can put my 2 cents in of how I think the global network should be. And it's been really, really successful. And I think the biggest reason why I feel like it's best in operations is because that team works directly with logistics and fulfillment and my supply chain team and my systems team. And all of those people need to communicate to effectively serve our customer in the right way. If they're not reporting to ops and they're reporting to marketing, which is what happens in a lot of businesses, they don't get that real time, hey, we're gonna be out of X or we're having an issue with this, and then vice versa. They sit down with my team, we all do ops offsites together, and they can tell my team where we're challenged. Is it a battery issue? What is the top customer complaint? What are we looking at? And then we can go back to central, go back to our factories and say, these are the things that we're struggling with that need to be fixed. And I think without them directly reporting to operations, there's a gap there. And also, when you're part of marketing, you don't quite get back to where, you know, we can all work together. And I mean, you've had huge success working with that team in improving things and them knowing issues that we know ahead of time. As far as supply coming in, maybe we have a little issue with it, we can let them know to be prepared, but we also work together on how they're gonna communicate with the customer as well. And I think it's been great. It's been great for me, it's been great for your team and the supply chain team. But yeah, so it can work anywhere. It's across the business, it kind of moves around, but I think it makes sense to me to live in operations so that everybody's aligned across the board from, you know, start to finish.
Yeah, that's great. And I know org design is always top of mind as these brands continue to increase in size, and even just adding one person at a time can be a game changer. Anything you want to add to what Jessica shared just on really aligning success and operations together?
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on a lot of the points. Some of the highlights for us is like, you know, getting proactive emails out to customers, maybe about one of their items is out of stock and we're gonna have to ship part of their order and ship the rest later, or working on different replacement options, maybe if it's a different color or different things like that. So really just having that communication back and forth is helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you talked earlier about some of the successes like with the Miss Rachel launch and these products that seemingly go viral and you can't even keep them on shelves. What about when you work with marketing or your sales team or maybe even the retail team with some of the products that are a bit slower moving? And how do you guys kind of navigate that as you want to have, you know, the most efficient throughput across the entire catalog mix?
So we really look at the omni-channel and then diversify who gets what. So not everything is in one place, to try to avoid some of that overstock. You know, if something's here and I can't get it here, people usually want it. We've used TikTok a lot to drive our overstock. It's crazy when those people market for you. I don't know what it is, but then everybody wants it. It blows my mind. Clearly, I'm older than the TikTok face, so my kids send me TikToks, but I'm like, it makes sense. So we've given them a list of things that we have in overstock that just we bought too much. It's not that they don't have value. It's not that people don't want them. It's just, it's fallen off the retail track because it's not a Moana or an Elsa. obviously Target and Walmart want the quickest moving goods. They don't really care about our own IP. So we use the TikTok people to kind of talk to customers and explain what the Tony is. And we've seen like selling 5 times what we've ever sold.
Oh, wow.
Using those partners. So we've done that very, very well. But I think our biggest success at Tony's is we have become approved government, like through government programs in education, we've become approved as an education partner. So in Florida, they have, what's it called again? I know you just told me.
Step Up for Students.
Step Up for Students. They get $10,000 a year towards their kids' education, whether that's for private school, educational material, but since we're a partner, they get to buy Tony's. And I think last year we saw about $5-6 million in sales. The best part is it's full price, no discount. So what we did is we released all of our overstock items first to drive all of the volume and revenue in those. And then we slowly trickled in things like IP that move to keep interest and keep them wanting to buy more. But it's been a huge thing for us. And actually, and what a great thing, right? Like it's so cool to sell in Target, but to be part of an education department and be approved as that, to me, that is way more important than selling a box at Target. You know, it's more, I don't know, it just feels better, I guess. But it's been a huge thing, and I think we're in 5 states now and growing. So it's been pretty impressive. That's
amazing. I love the creativity from, you know, entrepreneurs and the team that they hire just in navigating these new channels. Where I remember talking to a brand a couple months ago, and he just knew the hotel industry extremely well. And I was always wondered, like, how do you become like the soap or some of the toiletries whenever you go into a hotel, and especially like a large chain, and to be able to crack that with and do good at the same time, you know, for the state of Florida, and it sounds like some of the other states as well. What else? Again, you guys have like just seem like you just dominate the Target. So at least the ones that I go in all the time. Anything else you can share there from like a channel mix perspective, from, you know, retail wise, that you're excited about for this year and next year?
I'm very excited about Walmart this year. I don't know if anybody knew where we were, but we were in electronics, which from the beginning, from my perspective, it doesn't make sense for us. People that go in electronics are teenagers looking for gaming things. I've been in gaming, I know, they go there. TVs, that kind of thing. And parents go to the toy aisle when you have 1 to 5-year-olds. And they're not generally going into those areas unless they have older kids, so people couldn't find our goods, and we did not do well. So we exited and then partnered with Walmart, and they want to build a whole new brand around Tony's, like a whole, you know, screen-free listening Target. So we're working with them to do that. We are going back in October, which means our goods will be in probably the end of October, beginning of November, and we'll be in toy. We have our own spot, and we are extremely excited about it, and they've invested in marketing for us the same way Target has, and I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a great thing. When you exit Walmart or Target, you don't generally get a second chance, and they really have bought into our brand and want to be a partner with us. So we're very, very, very excited. At Target, I think we have 18 feet in most stores now, so like a whole section by ourselves. Every year I've been here, we got another 6 feet. It was exciting and scary all at the same time. But we've done extremely well with Target, but it's really because they've been a partner. They work with us. They want us to succeed. It's been great. So I watch Walmart this year and see what happens. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about it.
That's awesome. It's fascinating where you think of, like, you guys were slotted in electronics, and just some of these brands, it's you look at it just at face value and you think, like, where should this sit? And I know a longtime customer of ours, Touchland, who actually was acquired earlier this year by Church & Dwight, an amazing outcome for them. It's hand sanitizer, and their founder, Andrea, she's always stressed that they deserve to be in like the beauty aisle, and they work with, you know, beauty brands, and that's always been her focus, and it's how she's really differentiated. And so, like you mentioned, you know, being in, you know, more in the kids section. Any tips for the people in the audience? I know retail's always top of mind. Like, how do I even navigate this? So whether it be Target expansion, or maybe even, like you mentioned, being able to come back to Walmart. Any other tips for the people in the audience?
I think the biggest thing is to drive what you feel is best for your brand. You know, you get overwhelmed by getting excited that you're in a Walmart or a Target or something like that. It's a huge thing for your brand. But I think be true to where you feel like you need to be, stick true to your brand, deliver that message. And I think that for us, like we went in electronics and we, from the beginning, thought it wasn't right and told them that we didn't think it was the right fit and tried it out. But I think because we worked with them and worked with what our brand represents, they kind of put their arms around it and came back to us. So I think not really compromising what your brand is about, where you feel like it should be, what it should represent is a huge thing. And I feel like that's where it works out. Like you guys know what's best for your brand. You know where it should be placed. You know what retailers are good partners and what aren't. I firmly would say don't go into a retailer you don't feel like is a good fit just because they're giving you an opportunity. Usually that doesn't work out. I've been in beauty brands for most of my life, and you know, you get excited, you go into like a drugstore or a retailer that doesn't really fit your brand because it's a little bit more upscale. It never worked out for us. And so I would firmly, that's why I say stick true to who you are and where you feel like you need to be. And I feel like success will find you and you'll find the right partner.
So my question is, you mentioned success with affiliate videos on TikTok. Are there any other avenues that you had success with on TikTok, like live selling or brand campaigns? And if so, what?
I'm not sure. Do you know?
I don't know too much about the marketing side.
I'm not sure. I know that we've done affiliates. I think they've done a couple of lives, but I would have to come back and tell you, but I am sure they're looking at everything. But the affiliate part was just the easiest, I think. To be completely honest, we launched on TikTok and did not have a plan. So it didn't go through ops. It went through the e-com team. They set it up. They're so excited about it, but never like connected anything. We didn't know how to do returns. The inventory wasn't set up correctly. Don't avoid ops when you do things like that. So we had to backpedal and correct it. I mean, it was so exciting. We did like 1.2 million, but nobody knew what it was. Was it coming back into the ERP? Did it take the inventory down? All the answers were no. So we've had to reroute and do it again. But they initiate that, but I do know they have done a live, but I don't know how many. And then the affiliates, we do quite a bit.
I think in the UK, they had a lot of success with doing like lives on
Yeah, they
TikTok.
did.
I'm also not on TikTok, so don't ask for details. But I think it worked so well in the UK that we're looking to start something similar in the US. And actually, I don't know if we're hiring someone specific or what the plan is, but kind of like having that more like live presence on a regular cadence rather than kind of more of the influencing.
UK's done significantly well with that.
And I know there are some in the audience that are some of the top sellers through TikTok Live, so I'm happy to introduce you to them afterwards. And if others want to take us up on that. We actually have posted some TikTok Lives in our facilities as well, which have been pretty fun, and operations hasn't gotten too mad at me about that. So, Jessica, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us on here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.